Okay, welcome everyone. I'd like to start with a question, actually, something for you to think about as we talk about sort of how things have changed. And that's what is the largest repository of public content that your organization has? And I suppose, over the past couple of years at least, we've been looking for use cases for how we can sort of fold in and integrate artificial intelligence and the way it's matured, certainly in more recent times, into our organizations to achieve efficiency. So we'd like to focus the conversation on that, tell you about what the sort of so far the journey has been, in the Jadu world, and perhaps gaze into the crystal ball and look at what the future might be sort of in the medium term and in sort of certainly in the short term. I'm joined by Paul Stanton, who is has the longest job title ever. He is the head of AI, research development, and user experience. And I think that's become extremely meaningful now, hasn't it, Paul? Because our strategy is converging all of that, right?
Yeah, certainly the Venn diagram of where I operate is very much in the center of those things, and it touches everything. And our customers are certainly becoming more aware and of the technology that's coming out, because everyone's been asked about it. Everyone needs to adopt it and is looking for opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And I suppose we've been listening to our customers for the past sort of 18 months as we've started to go deep into what AI and reasoning models, large language models have to offer. And so we'd like to talk about some of that today, talk about some of the things that Paul and his team have been up to, talk about some of the things that our sort of wider engineering team have been up to, but also what our customers have been doing with this technology. Okay, so what's changed? Well, everything has changed. The way we search, the way we use computers, things are faster. Our habits have changed as well. And I suppose even if you look at the way people are using their devices, has changed. So I, for example, I can't type, so that's my first confession of today. And so I use voice dictation on my phone all the time. And I see my children doing it. I see others doing it. And it's not just to make voice notes. It's to actually, perform tasks. And obviously, as devices are becoming more intelligent, as functionality for voice commands becomes more intelligent on device, our behaviors are changing as well. And so search is probably the biggest thing to be impacted, right? So, for example, certainly in the public sector context, if I was to, wanting to report a pothole, rather than using a keyword search, on my device, I would search using natural language. So using voice dictation, I would say, I'd like to report a pothole outside, on my front street. And my expectation is that I would be delivered an answer, and so I don't know if you've also noticed the way search engines, has changed. More recently, Apple announced that sort of the mainstay sort of method for people to search for things on devices was using Siri or using Apple Intelligence or using ChatGPT. And that sent Google's share price plummeting. And I think it's those sorts of things that show there's kind of like a sort of a global change, the way we're using devices, and it's impacting the way technology is delivered as well. So we're going to sort of unpack a little bit of that and show you how, we've arrived at this sort of fundamental kind of shift in the way we build products, for example. So just to step back a little bit, and sort of explain how things have changed, for us as a company. For the last 25 years, we'll be 25 next year. So for the last 24 and a half years, Jadu has focused on the user experience, on sort of the public external experience. We're still very focused on that. Our mission is to become the world's most accessible digital platform. That's our North Star. It's what drives us. And we know that you are as obsessed about accessibility as we are. And there's a massive business case now, as we'll talk about later, for accessibility that it goes well beyond accessibility across a broad range of disabilities and abilities, but actually more fundamentally is now the gateway to accessing content for large language models. So Jadu Central has been sort of focused on deploying the web experience, web content management. Actually, we don't know how many websites are powered by Jadu. Thousands, we think, thanks to the Galaxies feature set inside Jadu Central. But also, tens of thousands of forms have been deployed in the Jadu platform, leading to millions of form submissions, payments, and bookings. And Jadu Central has become the enabling technology, for digital service and self-service. And then we have Jadu Connect, which in the shortest possible time has become the leader in sort of self-service CRM and case management inside the public sector, certainly in the UK, growing very fast in the US right now. And we've seeded Jadu Connect in Australia with some of our local authorities there. And so tens of thousands of notifications and automations go out from Jadu Connect every day. And that brings us on to a third major platform. I suppose the big shift for Jadu is that we also want to make sure we innovate in the agentic experience space. So we've launched Agent-Ex, a new suite of agentic products that are focused on the things that are important to us, and we think the things that are important to you, that's self-service, accessibility, and your ability to deliver digital services, sophisticated services in zero code, no code. So that agentic experience is what we're here to talk about today, and we'd like to sort of unfold some of that for you. So everyone's talking about how search, is dead. I mean, in terms of the way we look for things has changed. I don't know if you noticed that on Google now, if you search for a keyword or a search term on google.com, it unfurls with Gemini, so delivering you an answer. And it's actually becoming increasingly more rare that you actually go beyond that and start rifling through the results. Bing.com does the same thing with Copilot. So we're already seeing a massive shift in the use of large language models and agents to be able to deliver us answers. And so fundamentally, the fabric of the internet has changed because the business model for search has always been about results. And that's why we have to shift our attention to how do we deliver, sort of going from the old model of a request-based internet to more of an intent-based internet. When I ask for something on my phone, my expectation is, an immediate answer or immediate task delivered to me. And so that has fundamentally changed how we build digital services. So without wasting any time, I think what we'll do is we'll start, sort of a small round of demos, just so we can explain sort of what the problem space is. So let's just move over to a browser here. Hopefully everyone can see that. Can you see that, Paul?
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, great. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick on some really great websites. Some are powered by Jadu, some aren't. And I picked these because they're really good examples of self-service and service delivery through a browser. Let's have a look at this website first. So typical sort of large local government website in the UK. I'm going to sort of squeeze my screen down. Now, as we know, certainly in the case of some of our customers, like, for example, Birmingham City, and we'll have a look at Birmingham in a minute, 85% of their users come from a mobile device. And that's another fundamental shift now in how sort of services are delivered. And increasingly, our customers are seeing our web experience like this. So finding tasks, let's take a few scenarios. Finding tasks has become something we have to be able to deliver in microseconds. And because, sort of large organizations like local authorities, universities, sort of government and higher education, any sort of large entity has to be able to bring together a diverse range of services, across the board. So let's try a couple of things. Let's search for, say, for example, noisy neighbors. Now, I have a noisy neighbor. My neighbor has 3 young children and screams all day long. She's lovely. But what happens if, I want to tell someone, maybe I've got a concern about it? The first thing I'll do is I'll come to a website like this. generally speaking, you'll see search prioritized as the very first thing. And then you've got sort of key delivery of tasks. So let's assume that I'm here to report a noisy neighbor. I'll click on report it, for example. The website is now changed. I've got the option to download an app. I don't really want to do that. I can scroll down a little bit more. I could live chat if I wanted to, or sometimes, we all have sort of the poor experiences with chatbots because they're not really powered intelligently. So I don't really want to do that. Let's keep looking. Where else would I expect a noise report to be? So let's try other services because nothing really fits that. Okay, let's have a look through these options now. I've got environmental issues. I guess it could be an environmental issue. Let's go and have a look there. So I've got an option to report environmental issues, resilience. None of these seem to fit what I was looking for. Let's go back to the top. Report environmental issues. Okay. So now this looks like the right place. I can report litter, dog fouling, graffiti, fly tipping, fly posting, and that's about it. So being able to report a noise nuisance has, kind of ended there, really. So let's go back to the homepage and search for it. So again, following the principle that we're now actually using natural language to search for things, I'll say I'd like to report a noisy neighbor and hit search. Okay, so I've made a search query. I'd like to report a noisy neighbor, and just rifling through the results, I can't see anything relevant to the service inquiry. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. Let's come sort of 8,000 miles over the ocean. Let's go to Harvard University. So in the higher ed context, one of the most prestigious universities in the world, and their website certainly matches that experience. Many universities like Harvard integrate their sort of student service with their public websites as well. So let's search for, let's say we want to make a report for noise on campus. So I'd like to report noise on campus. So let's click search on that, see what happens. Okay, a nice search experience, but there's not really any relevant results here. So generally speaking, when I search for something or I can't find the task in literally the first few, the minute at the most, my tendency is to email or pick up the phone. Of course, we all know, that's not a sustainable way for us to do business anymore. Let's go to a university that we know very well. Paul, you know this university very well because you used to work at the University of Leeds, didn't you, in the web team?
I did.
And we'll come back to sort of these university use cases. They're really interesting, but let's try the same thing again. I'd like to report noise on campus. Forgive my typing, everyone, which is why I use voice commands so often. Okay, so now I know for a fact, so University of Leeds, one of the best universities in the UK, if not the world, that their website certainly matches that sort of with design, content design, and visual user experience. The website search uses a very powerful sort of customized Lucene sort of solar powered engine. And you can see that actually underneath that, with that natural language query, I actually can't find any relevant results here either. So I guess what I'm trying to prove here is that there's something fundamentally wrong with the way search is built. Let's try something else. This is the city of Phoenix. I was actually presenting the Age of Agents to a whole bunch of sort of senior decision makers and C-suite in Phoenix. And I thought it'd be fun to just open up the phoenix.gov website and have a look here. So I tried to make a FOI request. So I'd like to make an FOI request. Okay. And when I click search on that query, actually what happens is nothing at all. I don't get a result. So, something fundamentally wrong with the way search works, and it doesn't now match how users are using the web, the intent-based web, where natural language is actually starting to become the de facto way to interface with computers. Let's go over to Birmingham. Birmingham, sort of a very large deployment of Jadu platform here. So everything from sort of all the cases, sort of processing over 1 million cases a year, over £80 million in payments get made through Birmingham. Very sophisticated website, beautifully responsive, and we'll have a look at that in a minute. Works beautifully on a mobile device. The real magic at Birmingham happens when you sign in. So if I was to sign in, there is over a sort of a 650,000 registered users on the Brum account. And that's because of the focus and sort of energy they've spent on customizing the personalized experience. So when I log into Birmingham, I see sort of when my bin collection days are, any cases that I've raised, any online payments that I've sort of made, or any forms that I may have started and not finished. Single sign-on to systems like self-service for revenues and benefits, even down to things like hyper-local services, like based on my postcode, my local library, sort of my local schools, parks and open spaces, and even down to my local councillors. But let's just have a look at a simple sort of user experience. So going back on a mobile device, as I said earlier, 85% of users on birmingham.gov.uk, see the website like this. And let's say I want to do something simple, like I wanted to pay my council tax using a credit card. Now, hopefully, the content design team, who are fantastic at Birmingham, have put a nice big button on here that says council tax. So I'll click that. I'll scroll down a little bit. There's a nice button there that says pay council tax. That's great. I'm now on the pay council tax landing page. So I'll just scroll down that a little bit. Can't really see a pay button anywhere here. So just scanning the page a little bit. I don't want to pay by direct debit. I don't want to pay by account. Other ways to pay. Let's click that. Have a look. Okay, pay by credit and debit card. There it is. I'll just click that. Another page that's asking me or telling me about different reference numbers and what they mean, and then a box to fill in a reference number. So actually quite a long experience to get to somewhere where I wasn't, I was expecting to see a pay button. So just put a pin in that at the moment, because that's often how sort of user journeys work. It could be far simpler, and we'll talk about that. And I'll also show you why the delivery of the task is so important. Let's try a different problem. Problem number 2 on this website. Let's start with a noisy neighbor problem. So I'd like to report a noisy neighbor. And I'm not actually going to give it more context. I live in B11BB. So I'm saying 3 things to the council here. I'm saying I'd like to make a report. It's for a noisy neighbor, and I actually do live in Birmingham, and here's my location. So when I hit search on that, this is using Google programmable search, which is one of the most powerful search engines you can put on a website. I get no results. And that's again because search is broken. Let's try that again. So I'm just going to copy this to my pasteboard. And this time I'm going to go over to, let's close these windows down. I'm going to go over to, this is prototype birmingham.gov.uk that we built for the digital team at Birmingham, so they could envision the future, because they're very much deep at working on what the future looks like at the moment. Let's just go back to that mobile responsive view. That user journey for paying council tax massively improved here. So again, we've got a big button that says pay council tax. This time we've got a much simplified user experience. You can see credit cards right in front of you. You click that and there's a pay button. Now that problem costs nothing to fix. It's simple content design and optimizing the user journey for a specific type of task, a very popular task. Let's try search, the second problem that we looked at. So I'd like to report a noisy neighbor. I live in B11BB. This time, however, the search box on the homepage is Agent-Ex search. It's an agentic search with a proper reasoning engine behind it. So let's just click on search. Agent-Ex has remembered all 26,000 pages of content on birmingham.gov.uk written into memory. So whenever I search for something, in this case with intent, it absolutely understands my intent. And the first thing Agent-Ex does is it gives me that one thing, the task, the thing I'm here for. It's then also written a beautifully sort of crafted response, and I can, sort of see, a fully rounded sort of digital service delivery there, and that is entirely written by Agent-Ex Search. So it's used the website's content, written that into memory, and served it back to me as an instant response. That's cool. Okay, but what if I didn't want to type my question? What if I wanted to ask it? So I'm just going to use the speech button here. I'd like to make a noisy neighbor report. I live in B1 1BB. Okay, so Agent-Ex has heard what I said. Again, it's understanding my intent. It's looking up its memory, and it's writing me and crafting me a response, the same response. So there's my task, and there is my beautifully written content as well. In fact, if I press this little button here for accessibility,
if noise from your neighbor is causing a nuisance and you have already tried speaking with them, you can report the noise nuisance to us.
Great. So the first time ever, I can speak to a website and it gives me an informed and intelligent answer. That's cool. But what if English wasn't my first spoken language? Okay, let's go over to Google Translate, probably one of the most powerful tools that Google have ever built. Let's ask the same question again. You can see I've done a few searches already: Croatian, Punjabi, Polish. Obviously, Google Translate offers me a whole bunch of different languages. I don't know, Paul, would you like to pick one?
Let's go with Arabic.
Arabic. Okay. I haven't tried Arabic yet. So it's a right to left language set as well. So I hope you're not deliberately trying to trip me up here. Well, I'm going to copy that to the pasteboard. I'll go back to Agent-Ex Search, and let's make our request in Arabic as well. See what happens. Now, Agent-Ex Search speaks over 70 languages and is fluent in reading, writing, and speaking those languages. So hopefully, if everything goes right here, I get a right to left response, and even the buttons on the right-hand side. So I'll just click that. And hopefully you'll hear Agent-Ex Search responding to me with my noisy neighbor inquiry in fluent Arabic. Takes a second to process because it's a long response.
يمكنك الإبلاغ عن سلوك جار مزعج في منطقة B+BB من خلال تقديم بلاغ عن السلوك المعادي للمجتمع.
Okay, well, I don't speak Arabic. I'm sure there's somebody on here that does. Hopefully, Agent-Ex got it right. I haven't found an instance where it hasn't got it right yet, so it's interesting. Okay, finally, I'm just going to go over to, let's close those windows. I'm just going to go over to Wasatch County in Utah. Wasatch is one of our customers. When they launched Jadu, they're using Jadu CMS actually. And when they launched Jadu, they became the most accessible county government website in the United States, according to the Silk Tide Index. They shot in at number 1 from 1,385 or something like that. And I think they just dropped to number 2 because of some PDFs on their website. Let's do that same search that we tried for Phoenix. So let's click on search. So I'd like to make an FOI request. Now at Wasatch, there's no digital service yet for processing FOI requests. Hopefully they'll build one in their Jadu platform soon. And as you can see there, it's responded to me with the correct methods of engagement with the authority on making FOI requests.
To make a Freedom of Information FOI request in Wasatch County, please contact the...
Okay, so even has the inflections right for the region in Utah. It's a really powerful way to engage with users. Okay, just moving on, I'm going to play a short video which kind of tells you about Agent-Ex, and then we're going to have a look at some of the things that Paul is working on in his team right now of integration of Agent-Ex into other sort of omni-channel instances.
Websites. Some are vast, endless rabbit holes of content. You just need to find that
one thing, right? That one task for the day. We navigate. Looking for signposts? Click.
Click, click. Maybe we get lucky, maybe we don't. We search.
But hey,
We're not writing a paper on that one thing. We might
Chat if you have time to explain. And remain polite as you explain again.
give up and call that number.
What if that one thing just came to you when you ask it? An AI-guided search.
No wandering, no guessing, no questions.
just answers. Introducing Agent-Ex Search by Jadu. AI-powered search for business,
government, higher education, and enterprise of every kind.
Whatever the use case, it's got you. Let me show you.
Type your query or speak your question in any language to clearly find the answer. That one thing.
It doesn't just find information and show you a page it's on, or 5.
No, it understands the context of your question, pulls the right data from everywhere, and delivers a clear, concise answer.
No fluff, no filler.
Agent-Ex Search works with any Web CMS or portal technology, which becomes the AI training room and knowledge library.
So it knows exactly where to look and which rabbit holes hold the answers. It speaks your language,
Matching your tone of voice.
Remaining accessible,
and maintaining all standards.
The one thing we all want. Fewer support calls, smoother self-service,
and faster access to what truly matters.
Agent-Ex Search by Jadu.
The right answer in your language.
It's a fundamental shift in how the web works. It's a fundamental shift in how users work, and we're seeing now customers wanting to engage with us, in the way they want to on the platforms that they use. So just going to hit quit on that and just move over to Paul. If you have little Easter egg there for you.
Thank you very much.
Chat GPT powered Paul. Would you like to take over the screen share and show us what you've been working on?
The demonstrations that Suraj has given just now, they are very focused on the search experience. You're seeing that Agent-Ex Search can provide a great kind of single shot answer to your question. If you know what you want to find, or even if you're just looking for certain information, Agent-Ex Search when embedded in your website will give you the answer. And there's a lot of training and knowledge building that happens in the background for that. What we intend, and I'm going to kind of show you a bit more of the future roadmap vision of this, which is that once you've taken that knowledge, you have all that website content, you have trained an agent to understand it, how the organization wants that information to be represented and how it should interact with citizens, customers, students, or basically even staff internally. Once you think beyond the search bar, beyond the website, the same knowledge, the same agents can be used in different ways. And I'm going to show you something that we're working on right now. This is early days, but we're all friends here, so I think you'll be able to understand where I'm heading. Are you able to see my Telegram app on the screen? Presuming there's...
Yes, we can.
Brilliant, thank you. So this is a prototype Telegram agent. This is Agent-Ex Search. This is the same knowledge, the same brains, but freed from the website and exposed through another channel. So with this agent, rather than a single question and answer, I can actually have an ongoing conversation. So this has been trained. You saw screenshots from the University of Leeds earlier. This version of Agent-Ex Search has been trained on the whole course catalogue, all the courses that the university provides, and told you are going to help people find their dream course that will help them be what they want to be when they grow up. So here I can start. Not by, if you go to the website at the moment, you have to know what you're searching for. What do I want to be? I want to be an AI developer. That's a better thing. So at the moment, if I go to their course finder, I would need to kind of know a could search for artificial intelligence, back to those keyword searches. I might be searching for computer science. I'm not really able to say I want to work for Aston Martin and design cars for a living. But with Agent-Ex search, I can, because it understands the intent behind my question, and it can pull from its knowledge. So here, it's given me 3 course recommendations, which I can then start to explore and go into. I'm going to give it a bit more information. I'm in the States, and I'm partially sighted. So that on its own is, I'm not relating that to my original question, but obviously we're having an ongoing conversation. Agent-Ex now has a conversational memory. It can remember facts and what we've spoke about previously. So yeah, it's pulled that information out for a partially sighted student. It's recommending the online course, which was the first one it recommended here. So it's saying why online learning brings pulling out different information that's relevant now to the information I've given it. That I want to be an AI developer. I'm in the States and I'm partially sighted. It's even giving me jump off options to speak to disability services. So it's really bringing some great information here. Actually, I want to study on campus. Oh, I'm not really interested in online courses. I work from home full time, so let's get out in the world. Even though I live in the States and this university's in the UK, so right. It's remembered that I told it earlier I'm partially sighted, so it's telling me which course it is. Campus accessibility. It's bringing through all the information I need. We could say where is that taught and which halls are nearby. So again, it understands the context of the organisation. When we speak about halls, in the context of finding a course of studying at university, it's halls of residence. It's going to be where it is. So I'm not looking to hire a hall for a birthday party. So it's telling me the student accommodation, linking off to campus maps. Let's say, hey, is there an open day? And what people quickly find, and certainly personally I find, is when you have this ability to have a conversation, you start speaking with much more information in your queries. So you quickly come off the keyword search like AI courses or accommodation, and you realize very quickly that you can add multiple bits of information within that sentence, and Agent-Ex search and AI in general can pull that information out and respond in kind. So here, yeah, it's giving me the open days. It's giving me links to register my interest. Once we tie in tools, we can start filling forms in. We can ask the potential student here, do you want to register for the open day? Right, let's get you registered. Let's catch your details. I'm going to say, email me all that information, please. So the earlier you can capture, and this relates to universities, councils, you can capture and set people up with accounts, you can remember them, you can keep in contact with them, and you can build that relationship over time. Lads, Jadu@gmail.com. So here it's asked for my email address because it's not known that already. Maybe if I was signed in, it would do. And what it's going to do is everything we've spoken about, it's going to now compose me an email. It's told me to do that. Before I look at the email, also send that to me in Chinese. Why not? So now if I go over to my inbox, here we go. I've already received it. I can learn about this AI program. It's pulled through my travel options. It's remembered that I'm coming from the States. It's had there. And it's given me the link to register interest. And if we give it another second, I've also got it in Chinese. So now with Agent-Ex, you've effectively trained a digital employee that can work on your website at your front door. It can communicate over Telegram, WhatsApp, it could be Facebook Messenger, text message, many different channels. It could be at the end of a phone line as well, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Patient knows everything about every department that you've trained it with, and it can answer questions and deal with a lot of people at the same time, regardless of the language, regardless of the time of day or whereabouts in the world they are. No more pull back when the department's open. I can't answer that question. The information's there in many different ways.
Thanks, Paul. That was phenomenal. It's great to see, what the future looks like for Agent-Ex search. Gives real meaning to the term agent as well, right? Because now it's actually doing things for you as well. Okay, in the last few minutes, I thought we'd explore a few more concepts about where this technology could go. Hopefully you can see my screen. See my screen, Paul? Great. Okay, so does that mean websites are dead? Now, a couple of CEOs that I was presenting to recently said, well, why do I need a website now? That's a really good question. People still use websites and always will, in this current shape, in this sort of short and medium term future. That's kind of the de facto way to interface with your organization, during the day, during the evening, whenever, on any device. But how do we integrate that intelligence, that reasoning into the actual sort of web experience? Well, let's take a quick look. So we talked about the intent-based web. We talked about we've moved from sort of a request-based internet, to a service sort of intent-based internet. Browser makes a request to a server, custom makes a request to an organization, and we've kind of shifted now to instant answers. Let's take a look at a popular university. Taking Paul's example of the course finder, using some of that reasoning technology and that sort of discussion-based technology in the background. Typically, when you go to a university website, the most invested in feature is the course finder, right? Because that is the business model for a university. And so that's the one thing they always have to get right, a directory of courses. And always you'll find a question. Usually that is, what course are you looking for? What are you wanting? What's your ask? What kind of degree do you want? With an agent powering the experience, you can change that and make it more intent-based. So we could ask, what do you want to be? And based on that experience in the background, the agent can start building the signposts, the questions, the things to click. So, for example, here, the agent is asking me what I want to be. I say I want to become a doctor. It unfurls with some lovely, well-written content about why this institution is one of the best in the world, for the sciences. It will also then say, well, what kind of doctor do you want to be? Do you want to be a doctor of pharmacology, of zoology, of medicine? And so if I click medicine, you can see sort of in the middle of that page, actually in the background, I'm having a conversation with an agent, and that agent is then building my experience out for me. So, on the left-hand side might be an a la carte sort of menu of programs that make up my degree course, a beautifully written piece of sort of text to explain the course, and then an apply now button at the bottom, where the user in Chinese or, sort of Korean or any other language can start the application process. And as we all know, the moment you hit apply now, the level of conversion dramatically goes up. And so, you've already got the user into the sort of transaction process. So very powerful for things like student recruitment, for complicated services where you need to understand a bit more about the user. What we've learned about this experience with agents and with LLMs so far is that if you make things accessible for humans, you make them accessible for machines as well. And Agent-Ex search is absolutely no exception to that rule, because the more accessible the content, the easier it is to read and understand, and for the reasoning engine, for the model underneath, to be able to craft and write the right answers as well. So the one thing I'd like to tell you to take away with you is Agent-Ex search is available for any web platform. So you don't have to have the Jadu platform. The implementation is very short, so about a month, between 3 weeks and a month. And that's to basically do a graceful crawl of content, to test and to iterate. works on any platform. So if you're using Drupal or any derivative thereof, like local gov Drupal, if you're in the UK local government area, SharePoint, for intranets, WordPress, Sitecore, Contensus, doesn't really matter what underlying web technology you're using. It's a very simple way to power purely cloud-based agentic search, and it's the one use case, how you leverage that public content. And of course, the biggest repository of publicly available content you have is your website. Okay, so we're at 40 minutes. I just want to finish off by just really saying how life has changed. Everything has changed. We can't be who we were. And certainly, we need to look and embrace this future with AI sort of weaved in, embedded. We want to be able to create experiences for users that are accessible, that are able to deliver efficiencies, that make contact centers more powerful. Like, just using Agent-Ex in the contact center alone is super powerful. Before I started Jadu, I spent 3 years working in a contact center. Boy, do I wish I had Agent-Ex in front of me answering questions, in real time. So this is the age of agents. We've explained how agents can start shaping, in no code, how your organizations can start building tools and applications that are shaping the user experience. Thanks, Paul. We're at the end of the session. We've got about 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes for questions. And I know some folks have been asking questions as well. So let's just go through a few of those. What are the content quality requirements to ensure AI is performative? That's a really good question. Paul, would you say accessibility is probably one of the big ones?
Absolutely, probably the critical one. And if an organization has been following best practice, whether it's GDS or accessibility, web content accessibility guidelines, writing plain language, I was going to say plain English, but that really doesn't matter anymore. But writing easy to understand language, if a human can read it, certainly Agent-Ex search can read it.
Next question is, with this working in any language, how does it work with different dialects? Can it understand differences in language such as Brummie, Scalp, or any other dialect?
It does an incredibly great job at understanding different languages with this testing that we've been able to do internally. We have certainly a Brummie on staff with a very broad accent, and it's handled everything that they've been able to ask it flawlessly. If you have like an incredibly strong accent, which some people do, I would say that if you struggle to use Siri or Alexa or technologies like that, if that struggles to understand you, we're probably on par with that. But otherwise, we'd certainly welcome anyone who's willing to test as well.
And it's getting better all the time, isn't it, really? So Agent-Ex search leverages the very latest in sort of voice recognition technology. And that's where the whole industry is going for agentic experience. And so the first thing that is, I suppose, top of the list with R&D, as well as the reasoning and the intelligence engines, is the ability to respond and understand voice. And I know the service that Jadu uses, Under the Bonnet, understands and speaks Scottish, as well as sort of Utah dialect as well in the US. Final question, that's all we have time for, I'm afraid. Where can we find pricing information for the AI agent functionality? All you have to do is call us. So please just speak to us. Until the end of September, we are offering special pricing, year one pricing for early adopters. So Agent-Ex is a brand new product. The first council UK organisation going live with it is Lichfield District Council. You can speak to them, talk to them. But yes, until September 31st, we're offering sort of early adopter pricing. But then after that, sort of cloud-based service on subscription. A few more seconds for the last question. Was would the chatbot format Agent-Ex double the cost? No. Our direction of travel with Agent-Ex is to make it conversational as well. Obviously, customers are looking for answers, and we are focused on delivering those, sort of one thing answers, the task, the question. The next, I suppose, model for us to start looking at, as you've seen, is omni-channel, so on WhatsApp, on Telegram, and other channels, including on the phone. But we also then want to start looking at how we can make it conversational and deliver those very, very, sophisticated a la carte type services. All right, thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for your patience. I hope you've seen something of interest here today. Please talk to us. You can find us via our website, or if you're an existing Jadu customer, you can speak to your account manager as well. Thank you very much, and have a great day, everyone.